Hey guys, it's JL Phoenix, and today I'm going to be redrawing my character Elegia. During this process of redrawing Elegia, I faced many different struggles, which I'll explain a bit more in detail within this video. Without further ado, let's get started. So, just as I stated before, I faced many struggles when it came to drawing Elegia. Now, Elegia isn't exactly a complicated character to draw, neither are there any overly detailed parts of her design. In fact, she's quite simple with only a few specific details that really stand out to help bring her whole design together, which is what made her strangely difficult to draw. At least during the time when I was attempting to draw her in different poses and even do a little turnaround similar to what I did for the patch puppets. But because I was out of practice, well, scratch that. I never exactly practiced drawing her afterwards, so there's that. I mostly drew the patch puppets and whoever else I was working on, so Elegia ended up being left behind as a result. But I wasn't going to give up on drawing her, merely just find another approach. So I did that. To no avail, or rather not to a satisfactory degree. Well, satisfying to me at least. I just didn't like that I couldn't quite capture the feel and the look of Elegia, which is how I determined my satisfactory of my art. The feeling and look. Now, depending on my goal for my piece, or for my drawings, this criteria can change to fit with my focus of the drawing. But that's neither here nor there. Now, in between working on this character sheet, I would often put it down whenever I hit a brick wall or work on something else until I can get something. Which during that time I ended up creating Wolfgang, Will and Wonder, Noir, and a few other characters that I haven't introduced just yet. I even fleshed out bits of the story while I was sort of in between working on this. And I even drew a silly little strip. It only has like 2 panels, but it was still something I drew. Yay. Regardless, after some time of going back and forth, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to redraw her completely from scratch. So that's attempt 2. So by the time I got to attempt 2, by this point I had already kind of gotten a little comfortable with drawing Elegia because of the amount of times I went off and just kind of sketched her a bit. I was pretty comfortable to say the least. And by this point I decided to kind of sort of make some slight changes to her design. They're not like very major changes, but they're like just little changes. I mean, they're noticeable, but they're little changes. Like, I changed how her hat looks. I also changed, I also noticed I changed her face shape, too. And then I also changed, I did some changes to the lengths of her arms. I made it, like, slightly longer. And then I went off to the side and, like, sketched up a couple of things. Thought about sketching her holding a patch puppet in her hand, just to kind of compare the size between her and the patch puppets. Those things are really tiny compared to her. Noir's slightly on the bigger side, but I'll eventually do a size comparison later. And then I also went in and sketched her side view. Now I did attempt to try and sketch a back view, but I just really wasn't feeling it. I was like, I'll draw it when I'm ready to draw it. I also decided to go the extra mile and actually outline and color her, just trying to sort of recapture what I did the first time when I first drew her. Now, a part of me was telling myself, hey, maybe you should go back and watch your video to see how exactly you approached coloring her and everything. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna just eyeball it, completely wing it. And to be fair, it's actually almost one for one, almost the exact same, just only slight changes. And that's pretty much what you could say about the entirety of the updated design and then the older one, is that there's only slight changes, certain changes that I think I'll go forward with. And then there's like certain things I want to kind of change a little bit, like the little swirl thing at the tip of her hat. Yeah, I'm thinking about making it like a little smaller. Like it was funny when I first initially drew that, I thought to myself, you know, it's actually slightly smaller than the original. But I was like, yeah, you know what? I just go with it. Okay, I'll just draw it, and later on when I draw her again, I'll probably change it. And then I also changed up how I did the patterns on her hat. I mean, it's still pretty much the same like circle and like line pattern and stuff. But I actually decided to actually like quote unquote draw. Well, it's more like I painted the circle in, opposed to just grabbing one of the. I used a halftone brush just to kind of make the circular pattern the first time, but this time around I was just like, I would just make the brush bigger. Make circle. Bing! As for her eyes, I wasn't entirely sure how I did it. Like, I remember the kind of colors I used, but at the same time I was just kind of like, I don't quite know how to repeat it, but I did try my best by just simply looking at the final version of the original and then just simply said, okay, well, I guess I'm going to just do my best to repeat that. But I did do some slight changes to her eyes as well. And then this time around, I also made sure to actually put to the side like each of the colors that I used during the process of coloring her, so that way I don't have to sit there and guess anymore. Which is something I need to get in the habit of doing, putting the colors down of everything that I use from the base colors all the way to the shading and lighting and all that. So that way it'd be easier for me to repeat, but it's neither here nor there. Anyways, that's gonna do it all for today, guys. Thank you all for watching today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about the new design of Elegia? Well, actually, it's more like an updated version of the design. I didn't really change much. But anyway, I'd like to give a special shout out to my Patreon supporters, Zeta787 and the Ocean Shock. Thank you guys for your support, and thank you all for subscribing and being part of the Phoenix fans. Have an amazing day, guys!